is a child. She is contributing everything that she can. Now he looked at all the other rich people throwing in the stuff, making, I'm sure, a big show, boy. They probably got little coins where they could get thousands of them and put it in and make a big commotion. But they weren't doing it because they were connected to the kingdom. They had their own other motives to do it. Jesus looks at the way that we're connected with him and his kingdom. The Apostle Paul actually spoke about how our work survives us. He said some people will make it to heaven just by the skin of their teeth because they didn't build on a good foundation. So everything that they did, their work, will not follow them. But he said some people build on a good foundation, and their work endures to the very end. I want to read from a book. This is Surprised by Hope. It's a New Testament scholar, rethinking heaven, the resurrection, and the mission of the church. And N.T. Wright writes, what you do in the present by painting, preaching, singing, sewing, praying, teaching, building hospitals, digging wells, campaigning for justice, writing poems, caring for the needy, loving your neighbor as yourself, will last into God's future. These activities are not simply ways of making the present life a little less beastly, a little more bearable, until the day when we leave it behind altogether. They are a part of what we may call building God's kingdom. God's kingdom will come. And what you and I do right now will endure into that kingdom. Those little words of kindness. You know, what's the difference between a Christian mechanic, say, and a non-Christian mechanic? They both fix the car. What's the difference between a Christian nurse and a non-Christian nurse? They both take care of people, but the Christian is connected to something much bigger. They are working with God and with angels. They're able to say words of encouragement, words that will bear fruit. That's the promise that Jesus gives us. When you're connected with Jesus and his system, those things endure. They will bear fruit. We are cooperating with God in this. Well, continuing our story now, in Luke chapter 7, it goes, Jesus was not far from the house when the centurion sent friends to him. Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve to have you come under my roof. That is why I did not even consider myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this one, go, and he goes, and that one, come, and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. Now think for a second of the system that this centurion was part of. He was part of this whole Roman authority, this whole Roman hierarchy of things, of how they happen. He was part of the greatest kingdom at that time, the greatest empire that had existed. He was part of that. And it's almost, you could think as he was thinking, it's almost as if he were to send a letter to Caesar and say, Caesar, I need a few more troops here. And he got a response from Caesar, and Caesar says, you may have your troops, and I will deliver them to you personally. And this Roman centurion would say, Lord, Caesar, I am just a lowly officer as part of your whole authority. You don't need to come here personally. Just say the word, and I know it'll be done. That's what he tells Jesus. He says, you are part of what God is doing. I know you don't need to come here personally. You are such an important part. I'm not worthy of you to come here. Just say the word. Because I know of what you're a part of. It'll be done. Verse 9, when Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him. And turning to the crowd following him, he said, I tell you, I have not found such great faith even in Israel. Then the men who had been sent returned to the house and found the servant well. I grappled with this story all week. It's like, what is the point? What's the thing that this is really telling me? And I went and I looked at of course, a lot of the commentaries, a lot of the other sermons, and it mentions the need for humility. It's like, this really is not about humility. It didn't appear to me that way. Need for great faith in Jesus. It's like, it's not really even about the great faith in Jesus. Because this was a Roman centurion. Now notice, this is not someone who'd gone to school studying on from his mother's knee from the time he was a child, the theology of the Bible. This was a Roman. His theological understanding was no doubt limited. That's good news for you and me. Because Jesus pointed that person and said, look, this person, he doesn't know maybe as much stuff as you guys know. But his faith is greater because he knows how things work. This is about someone who realized God has a system. God gets things done. And Jesus has a special part in that. And so he put his faith and he said, Lord, you just say the word and I know it's going to get done. What part does Jesus' life and death have to do with us? See, Jesus, he taught great things.